before the start of the race.
1 minute to go.
Thousands of people are surrounding you.
You have this little gap in your stomach.
Butterflies. This is when I have the most nervous tension, the moment where I'm the most nervous.
You can't wait for them to let you go. And
it's kind of nerve-wracking. You're thinking about how do I get through the first corner.
Focus on the racetrack.
You just want to beat everybody out.
It's a good beginning for a great battle.
It is a tense time for some of the greatest drivers in the world, but their fans in Monterrey, Mexico are in flat-out fiesta mode. And all eyes will be on one man, Adrian Fernandez, who will lead the field to the first green flag of the year. Championship Auto Racing Teams and Speed Channel are proud to welcome you to the opening round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series for 2002, the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix from Monterrey, Mexico. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Varsha. Let me quickly say how proud we are here at Speed Channel to be joining with Kart to bring you what is arguably the greatest test of driving skill in all of motorsports, the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Long and short ovals, road courses, street circuits, a driver and his team must master them all in order to be successful in what is arguably the most competitive form of motorsports in the world. And this weekend, those drivers and teams face what may be their toughest challenge of the year. They have had a very difficult time getting used to this racetrack, which is used just once a year. It is very, very slick, and we have new rules in place that all of the teams must get used to, and you're going to learn more about those right now. As I turn to my booth colleague, many-time racing champion Tommy Kendall. Tommy, there are so many rules that affect how today's race unfolds, but none more so than fuel.
I would not want to be the team manager in the hot seat. There is going to be one hero and a lot of zeros at the end of the day today. I'm glad I'm up here because for the first time in a long time, we are going to see this full field of cars going as fast as they can with as much methanol as they can burn.
It was dry on Friday. It was wet on Saturday. They have essentially a green racetrack today. What's going to happen? I don't think the teams themselves know. Now let's take a look at some of the new rules. Here is our race analysis. The race, 85 laps of this 2.1-mile circuit known as Steel Boulevard. The teams have a mandated 27-lap maximum. That is, you can only go 27 laps from your previous pit stop, but you'll have all the fuel you need if you choose to use it. Strategy very much still a part of this race. You must change all 4 tires when you do pit. You need not add fuel if you don't want to. All the stops must be complete before the white flag lap, and we will make every attempt to finish this race under green, even if that means bringing out the red to stop the race and restart it to ensure we finish this race at full throttle. Now, with more on race strategy, let's get down to the pit lane and meet former Champ Car driver Scott Pruitt.
Right, Bob. Race strategy, that's the name of the game. Pit stops, when to make them and when to stay out. I've had a chance to talk to all the guys. What are you going to do? Right now they're saying, we're not sure. For the most part, we're going to be shooting from the hips, waiting to see what unfolds. One thing they do agree on, though, when the tires are on the car, we're pulling the fuel and sending it out. So there's going to be a lot of interesting strategies going on today. It's called the Great Unknown. What do you think, Calvin?
Well, Scott, you're absolutely right. When the new rules package was announced, strategy was the key word, but never more so, though, than here this weekend. A wet qualifying session yesterday has absolutely jumbled this grid. We have a lot of very fast cars starting toward the back. Look for Tracy, Carpentier, Dixon, Servia to make big moves. What do you think, Double D? Derek Daly.
Ooh, I got to check my heartbeat. This is dynamite down here. You know, when we went to the Brazilian Formula 1 race, when Ayrton Senna was there, he just fueled the passion. You could almost feel it. When we went to Monza, Ferrari drove everybody crazy because they were so passionate about their racing. It's the very same here in Mexico. The heartbeat of today's event centers around right here, Adrian Fernandez's team. Everybody roots for him. Maybe we might a little bit too.
All right, thanks very much, Derek. Get your racing hat on, folks. We're about to begin. Here is the starting grid for the opening round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. On the pole for the second time in his career, but only the first on a road course, local favorite Adrian Fernandez was 8th in the morning warm-up. He'll start next to Dario Franchitti. Always tough when the track is difficult, but he was only 16th quickest this morning. On row 2 will be Alex Tagliani, looking for his first victory in his 3rd season in the Champ Cars, and he was 2nd quickest in the morning warm-up. He'll start alongside Christian Fittipaldi, who was the fastest man Friday, but lost the provisional pole position for bringing out a red flag. Now on row 3 will be the defending champion and the fastest man in the morning warm-up, Cristiano Damata, starting alongside another Mexican favorite, Michel Jourdain Jr. Back on row 4 will be Bruno Junqueira of Brazil, alongside his Target Chip Ganassi teammate, Kenny Breck, last year's pole sitter. On row 5 will be Townsend Bell, the highest ranked of the 2 rookies in this field. The young American starting alongside Jimmy Vasser, who was 6th in the morning warm-up in his debut with Team Rahal. On row 6 will be Oriol Servia, the young Spaniard, and Mario Dominguez, who was 3rd in the warm-up. He too is a rookie. He too is Mexican. On row 7 will be Tony Kanaan, who was 4th in the warm-up this morning, starting alongside last year's Rookie of the Year, Scott Dixon. On row 8 will be Tora Takagi and Michael Andretti, who was 13th in the morning warm-up. Michael has been struggling mightily this weekend. On row 9 will be Patrick Carpentier, who has been off and on all weekend and is hoping to come up with a combination that works in the race. He'll be alongside Mad Max Papis with a new team, Sigma Autosports. And on the 10th and final row, Paul Tracy, who has simply not been able to put in a good lap, but he hopes he has the car to do it with right now. He'll be starting alongside Shinji Nakano, who qualified in 16th spot, then went to a backup chassis and will start last in the field. Let's take a look at our onboard cameras, beginning with Michael Andretti. Starting well back in the field in the number 16 spot. He'll be carrying a couple of onboard cameras today. Further up in the field is Cristiano D'Amata, the defending race champion, and a man who's been sort of the stealth bomber all weekend, just below the radar, but consistently quick. On board now with Dario Franchitti. And you can hear the traction control working. We have a green flag. Jim Swintal waves the green. We are underway, and Adrian Fernandez takes the lead into the first turn, followed by Dario Franchitti. That was Paul Tracy off and on at turn 1. The last thing the Canadian needed. On board with Michael Andretti. Dario Franchitti, second gear chicane. On board with Cristiano D'Amata. And we have yellow flags. Word from the corner workers is Townsend Bell, the rookie from California, is involved. Our pictures coming to us from TV Azteca, the host broadcasters here in Mexico. Oops, there's the incident involving both target cars, plus Jimmy Vasser in the shell car for Team Rahal.
I think one of the players' cars as well. No rear wing on Jimmy's car.
Vasser's car missing half the rear wing and bad suspension damage at the left rear. We'll also have a replay for you of what happened at turn 1. Here it is now.
Tracy, at the tail end of that, you could see at the very start of the race, Paul was making a blinder down the inside and obviously didn't get it stopped and skated across in front of him.
There's Vasser's car.
Townsend Bell kind of foreshadowed that one in the pre-race show, talking about, he says, I expect this first lap to be a wild one.
That was Vasser getting together with Tracy as he came forward. There's the remainder of Jimmy's rear wing. He will climb out. No doubt bitterly disappointed at ending his first race of the season on lap 1. Notice he's wearing the Hans device, the head and neck restraint that is mandatory for all events in the Kart FedEx Championship Series this year. Let's get down to pit lane and Scott Pruitt.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting down here right now in Patrick's pit. They're anxiously waiting. They're all set up. They know there's some damage on the car. They've been talking back and forth. They don't know exactly the extent of the damage. They're going to come in, try and fix it, and get it going if they can. Like I said, they aren't sure of the damage. They know there is some damage on the front suspension. Back up to you.
Thank you, Scott. Here is the second incident.
There's actually a third incident, which is what took Jimmy out. His rear wing is still attached there. Once it gets going again, he gets together with Paul Tracy, who's recovering from his prior accident.
There's Townsend Bell on the left in the Vistion car. Both Bruno Junqueira and Kenny Brack in the Target cars involved.
You see the right front is just towed way in, and we saw him getting out. Scott didn't see this, but he's pulled off in an escape road. He will not be making it back.
That will be a bitter disappointment for him. Kenny Brack has pitted. There's a look at Brack, and he is climbing out. So last year's pole sitter is done as well. So attrition strikes immediately here in Monterrey, Mexico. 3 cars out with a lap complete in the opening round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. We'll be right back. Back live to Fundidora Park in Monterrey, Mexico. There is Kenny Brack, who is out of this race in one of several incidents that have taken out at least 3 cars. There you see Brack's Target Ganassi racer being pushed away. Let's get down to Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here. Kenny, turn around here for a second. What, I know it's the start of the race, extremely disheartening. Any idea what could have happened?
Well, someone got too excited and forgot to brake, I guess. I don't know who it was, but I just turned into the corner and someone just banged into me. I don't know who it was.
It's a long way to come for such a short day.
Yeah.
Best of luck in Long Beach. Down to Calvin.
Well, the story down here in Team Cool Green Pit is Paul Tracy came in, they inspected the suspension and have sent him back out without changing tires or refueling. They want to try and hit their pit stop window, which is after lap 4, so we expect Paul back in on the next lap. Then they will do full service. I don't see any real concern here. They believe the suspension may be okay after that off on the first lap.
All right, thanks very much. Teams now must put their heads together and decide how they might change their strategy. You're on board with race leader Adrian Fernandez on Boulevard Acero, Steel Boulevard. These are the grounds of the first foundry company established in Latin America, the Monterrey Foundry, hence the name Fundidora Park. Now let's take a look at what happened in the sequence of off-track incidents. First, Paul Tracy off at turn 1.
The second one, Townsend Bell is the guy who gets inside of Kenny Brack and spins him around, sends PT or sends Vassar off as well, and Junqueira. The second incident, watch Jimmy get loose, get into the outside of Paul Tracy. Paul's back on the ass trying to catch back up. Didn't lose too much time in the first turn incident. Jimmy's out. Paul, they're concerned over a rear toe link that might be bent, but now that the 4th lap is here, they can come in and do one of their mandatory stops. They couldn't do it before lap 4. I expect him to come in, get full fuel, tires, and a look at that rear toe link.
Down to Derek Daly.
Bob, I happened to be with Chris Pook this morning when Chip Ganassi rode up on his motorcycle and pleaded with Chris Pook to go inform the drivers to please take it a little bit easier. In his opinion, too many people had been off the road during the practice sessions. The irony of it is his car with Kenny Brack is one of the first out because of one of those silly incidents.
We go green once again. Jim Swintal waves the green over Adrian Fernandez, Dario Franchitti, Alex Tagliani, Christian Fittipaldi, and Michel Jourdain. So look at Tora Takagi in the red and white car, on board with Dario Franchitti.
You heard the traction control kicking in there when he got up on the curve just momentarily, cutting the spark of the engine. First 2 guys from the back doing that strategy, both Carpentier and Paul Tracy in on lap 4, trying to get out of sequence so they can run full rich and try to make some time and rejoin at the end of the race with better track position.
Shinji Nakano pitted as well. So that's the strategy of the back markers.
Strategy in mid-pack isn't too much different. I guarantee you the Newman Haas team and everybody from probably 3rd on back is trying to figure out how we can get our guy in clear track. You're really racing the track. It's unlike the years past where you were hemmed into the same strategy because of the economy runs. Now economy is not an issue. The fuel has been calculated so that you can run full rich all the time.
Problem is finding the grip. On the concrete patch where the track broke up a year ago. See if we can hear the traction control at work. ratcheting. 150 miles an hour down to about 60. Fastest part of the racetrack, 175 miles an hour.
There's an accordion effect, which even a 1 second gap at speed looks the same as a 1 second gap up at the lower speed. But I think Dario is closing in, under braking, both in the hairpin and in the stadium complex there at the end.
Across the start-finish line. 6 laps now complete. See the running order across the top of your screen. Alex Tagliani takes a look down the inside of Dario Franchitti for second place and takes it. Cristiano D'Amata pulls up behind teammate Christian Fittipaldi. There's a replay of the pass. Once again, our pictures coming to us from Mexican broadcaster TV Azteca. Fast lap of the race was just set by Paul Tracy, running back in 16th spot, on board with Michael Andretti.
You saw how quickly Tagliani had closed back up on the back of Adrian Fernandez. Now on board with Michael, watch these concrete patches. A lot more grip on that red concrete than there is on the asphalt. So what guys do is they try to get a little bit more of the work, so to speak, done. They really ask the car to turn more there rather than the proportional ideal line, because there's so much more grip. Another one here on the inside of turn 2. That fast lap by Tracy answers the question on whether the rear suspension is okay, but he's gonna have a totally clear track. Now if you get a yellow, all that disadvantage of the yellow of the previous stop goes. Look at this, Tony Kanaan off the pace.
Someone said Michael Andretti has eased up in his elder years. I don't think so. Andretti has not cracked the top 10 on the timesheets all weekend thus far. Final corner. Michael Andretti started 16th. He is up to 11th. So the order is now Fernandez, Tagliani, Franchitti, Fittipaldi, D'Amata, Jourdain, Oriol Servia up into 7th. Scott Dixon, his PWR teammate, to 8th, followed by Tora Takagi and Mario Dominguez. Welcome back live to Fundador Park in Monterrey, Mexico. Bob Barshin, Tommy Kendall with you. The race leader is Adrian Fernandez. No change in the top 5, but Tony Kanaan has dropped to 17th and last of the cars still in the race. Kenny Brack, Jimmy Besser, and Townsend Bell all dropped out on lap 1 as a result of contact. But Tony Kanaan's car remains in the Mo Nunn Racing pit. Scott Pruitt has more on that.
I'm down here with Morris Nunn. Morris, tough luck so far. Any idea what happened?
Well, we're just changing some of the electronic parts. So we just fired it up and it seems to be clear. So.
Well, did Tony say we're just losing horsepower or just wasn't running right? What was misfire?
Just the engine was misfiring and lost power. So we'll see. We'll know in a moment.
Hopefully we get back in the race. Back up to you.
Thanks, Scott. There's a look at Dario Franchitti running in 3rd place. There's Christian Fittipaldi, who had a brilliant day on Friday and could have grabbed the first championship point of the season, but he spun and brought out a red flag, so he had to give up his fast lap in first round qualifying, which turned out to be the fastest lap of the day. On board with Cristiano D'Amata, last year's race winner.
We saw a moment ago, fast lap of the race. Now Carpentier, the two guys that stopped on lap 4, Tracy and Carpentier trading fast lap. Almost a second quicker than the leaders were on that last lap.
Paul Tracy has worked his way up to 15th. Let's get more on that now with Calvin Fish.
Okay, we're going to get a word here with Barry Green. Barry, I know you're looking at the monitors. You've probably seen that Paul is the fastest man on the racetrack right now, and you weren't too concerned about bringing him in under green. Think you got out of sequence with everyone else. You think that may be your advantage today?
Yeah, well, Calvin, as I said, we had two different strategies, one for Dario, one for Paul. Right now it's played into our hands. You know, we've done one of our required pit stops. We've got 2 to go. The other guys have got 3. A lot of racing left yet, though.
Talk about Paul's fitness level. Right now we're thinking these races are going to be flat out. He's done a lot of work over the winter. He's lean and mean this year.
Yeah, look at those lap times. He's working out there. You know that.
Great to be around a guy that enjoys his racing as much as Barry Green. Now move for the lead. Tagliani goes underneath Fernandez, but can he hold it? Off and on the track he goes, and Fernandez takes it right back.
You see, he was coming at Fernandez's rear wheel, and just at the last second, Adrian gave him a little bit more room and got around the outside.
Tagliani now holding up Dario Franchitti and the cars behind him, trying to get some of that grass off his tires after that off-course excursion.
Really holding that pack up. Look at Adrian streak away.
Bruno Junqueira picks up fast lap. Here's a replay of that interchange between Alex Tagliani. Very close between Adrian Fernandez right rear wheel and that sharp front wing on the Canadian's car.
Watch Adrian give him room at the very last second, right there. That might, I mean, it was only a matter of inches. Very heads-up driving by Adrian.
Might have saved both of their races. Fernandez continues to draw away slightly from the field. Let's get down to Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here with Jimmy Vasser. A tough day. Never expecting this soon. You've been running so good all weekend long. Tell us about it.
I got a couple spots on the start. I got past Bell, Junqueira, and then going into the hairpin in 5. You know, Bell must have been seeing the red mist. I mean, I got all respect for him. He's a good driver. But I guess rookie jitters, preseason jitters. He came flying up the inside where there's light grip anyway. Cold tires, and I was going to turn in. I seen him coming through. I was like, you know, I couldn't believe he was going to go for it like that in the first lap. I got out of the way, and he hit right into the side of Brack and was turning into the corner. You know, if Brack wasn't there, he would have went flying off the track. He was coming in so hot, and I tried to go around the outside of the melee. You know, really, I thought I was clear. I guess they might have rolled back into me or something, but you know, just big rookie mistake on Townsend's part. But you know, he's good. He'll get over it. He'll learn it. It's just unfortunate for guys like me and Brack who run for the championship so early. I mean, I guess he is too, but stupid thing to do at first lap of the season.
Thanks, Jimmy. Tough way to start this season. Back up to you guys.
All right, we've heard the point. Let's go for the counterpoint. Joining us in our announce position now is Townsend Bell. Townsend, you heard what Jimmy Vasser had to say about the incident. What's your side?
Well, a lot of what Jimmy said is pretty spot on. I'm disappointed myself. It seemed like a better idea on the way-in than it did closer I got to the apex. But Jimmy slotted over a little bit in the brake zone, pushed me a little closer off the line where the grip was when he saw me coming up. But nonetheless, I'm going to take most of the blame, and you know, I feel bad for Jimmy and for all my Visteon guys. We're working hard to try to get through this one, and it is a mistake on my part. But we'll move on. They'll move on and go to Long Beach, see what we can do.
Let's take another look at the incident in replay now as the action stabilized on the racetrack.
We pick it up late. We don't have the head-on shot, so.
Yeah, we need to see the brake zone. I pulled over to get the line on Jimmy. He started to crab over to the apex to try to force me up the inside, and unfortunately that puts me where there's no grip. But
excuse me, Townsend. Lead change. Tagliani now goes underneath Adrian Fernandez, who seemed to bobble slightly there. And now it's Tagliani who opens up a quick gap on the field.
Now there's a case where they obviously have their strategy and he's trying to run, get on clear track and really build up some time. The guys in the back, they're kind of an unknown. Where are they going to come out? It's hard to say if Adrian doesn't have a problem because Tags is just streaking away. Nobody else is coming by yet.
Let's get more from Derek Daly.
Bob, it is a problem with this traction control. Don Halliday, who is so focused, said he doesn't really want to talk because he's watching the monitor here. They have radioed to Adrian, as we heard on our radios, to begin to play with the traction control. He cannot accelerate off the corners as cleanly as he needs to keep those quicker guys behind him.
Well, he's definitely losing all kinds of ground to new race leader Alex Tagliani. Townsend Bell, while we have you here, how are you finding the adjustment? You raced here on this circuit with the Dayton Indy Lights cars last year. You have nearly twice the horsepower now in the Champ car. How are you finding the adjustment?
Well, so far it's been going okay. No real problems up until about 10 minutes ago. But, you know, it's a great series. I enjoy driving the cars. It's great having that much more power. And there's a lot more going on that you've got to be aware of. And I'm having a good time.
Talk about the traction control that they were talking about. What is the adjustment in the car and how do you tune that?
Well, I'm sure each manufacturer and even each driver combination has their own special custom situation, but the knob essentially you can choose different slip percentages that you want.
Does it vary based on the slower and high speed, or is it pretty constant for each driver?
You can do almost anything you want with the way that the thing's mapped out, totally customized to what you want.
Townsend, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Tough way to start the season, but better luck next time.
Thanks. See you guys soon.
That's Townsend Bell from Patrick Racing and the Visteon car. We're going to take a quick break. Let's take another look at the pass for the lead, though. Alex Tagliani, as Fernandez definitely bobbled. The Canadian pounced, took the inside line at the corner, and motored off into the distance. The question is, can Fernandez deal with the problem he's facing? Here comes Bruno Junqueira into the pits. We'll be back in just a moment. Stand by with more live from the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Welcome back to Monterrey, third largest city in Mexico, and one of the biggest events of the Kart FedEx Championship Series season. Our next stop will be the Toyota Long Beach Grand Prix, another of the classic events in this series. We'll have Kart Friday night at 10:30 Eastern, April 12th. Qualifying coverage Friday at 4:30 Eastern time, live here on Speed. Qualifying Saturday, the 13th at 4:30 Eastern time, also live. And then Sunday, the race itself will be at 3:30 Eastern time, live, not on Speed Channel, but on Fox. So check your local listings and make sure you're with us for the Toyota Long Beach Grand Prix. Welcome back. Bob Barsha, Tommy Kendall with you. Scott Pruitt, Calvin Fish, and Derek Daly are down in pit lane. Alex Tagliani has opened up a 4.5-second lead over Adrian Fernandez, Dario Franchitti, Christian Fittipaldi, and Cristiano D'Amata. Before we went to break, Bruno Junqueira made a stop in the Target Ganassi pit. Scott Pruitt has more on that.
I was just down here in the Chip Ganassi pit. He came in 4 tires, 1 turned down on the front wing. They also, as soon as the tires are on the car, they short filled the car, pulled the fuel away. The other thing that happened, I heard Tony Sicali go over the radio to Alex Tagliani and say, come on, buddy, we got to keep the times in the 16s. Keep on pushing. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Scott. There is Scott Dixon, last year's Jim Truman Rookie of the Year, making an early stop, working lap number 19 of 85. And there's Alex Tagliani's answer to Tony Sicali, a 1:16.673. Fast lap of the race thus far. Now keep in mind, at 27 laps, you must have stopped for the first time. A new rule in Kart FedEx Championship Series racing this year. Several drivers have already made their first stop. In fact, Paul Tracy has stopped twice already. Yet he remains in 13th spot.
Ever since Tagliani got around Fernandez, he's been running between 7/10 and 2 seconds faster than Adrian. So they're really pouring the methanol of that and trying to build up enough of a gap. Junqueira is trying to make this his blinder stint by taking on a short fuel load. He'll run on lighter fuel load on a clear track and hope that shuffles them ahead when all is said and done.
Junqueira re-entered the race in 16th place. Back to the PWR pits. Here's Calvin.
Oriel Servia brings his car in. Teammate Scott Dixon stopped on the same lap. Actually, he's been in and out, routine service. New set of Bridgestone tires and fuel, no adjustment on the PWR car.
And another short fueling stop. It would have gone to about 11 seconds if they were to top. Well, they have topped off the tank right there.
That's the other unknown. Is it's hard to know. There's no way of knowing how much fuel. In years past, they always started with a full fuel load. Now, they don't have to. And any fuel they have in the car at the start is extra fuel in addition to the allotment of the 1.8 miles per gallon that CART allows.
Before the race began, Paul Tracy said, we have to do the opposite of what the race leaders do. We have to gamble. That's what you're seeing going on right now. Adrian Fernandez runs in second. His countryman, Michel Jourdain, is sixth. Mario Dominguez, the only rookie remaining in the race, is eighth. So 3 Mexican drivers in the top 8. On board with Cristiano da Mata.
Once we get to lap 22, the drivers can do 4 equal length stops, and they'll be over the 85, somewhere over 21 laps. So at the 22nd lap, I would expect perhaps some of these leaders, anyone who's planning on never running with the full fuel load, to come in at that time.
Look how busy the drivers are in the car. When he's not shifting and steering, he's adjusting things on the steering wheel.
I'm a little bit surprised that Cristiano has not been chomping in the bit. He's been the fastest car all weekend and looked really good in warm-up. I'm surprised he hasn't been just right behind the guy in front of him, chomping to get by.
See the mountains off to the right of your screen. This is by far the clearest day we've had here in Monterrey. And we have a report of smoke from the back of Adrian Fernandez's car. Once again, our pictures are coming from TV Azteca, so we can't necessarily slap a camera on him when we'd like to. On board now with Fernandez.
Pit. Try the clutch.
Calvin Fish awaits.
Try the clutch.
Adrian Fernandez hits the mark perfectly. He's getting direction from Don Holiday on the radio, and it looks like a routine stop. They're not going to the back of the car. We heard reports of smoke coming from the back. They're waiting for the final drops of fuel. Look like he's going with a full fuel load. We can extend this next run, the 12:27 lap. Pit lane speed limit is 50 miles an hour here.
50-mile-an-hour pit lane speed limit, as Calvin mentioned.
May 1 traction 8. May 1 traction 8.
Now let's go back just as Adrian was coming in. This was Michael Andretti going around.
Right into the stadium section, into turn 10. Looks like he had the rear brake block right after he turned in. And harmless spin other than a lot of time loss.
Saw him grab for the steering wheel and miss it. Took him by surprise. This racetrack, we should point out, is not used throughout the rest of the year. This is the only auto racing weekend. You see those white lines on either side of the track? Those are jogging lanes and bike trails, contributing to the slippery nature of the track that the drivers have to deal with when they show up on Friday each year. Michael back underway. We'll take a break and return in a moment. Welcome back to the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix. I'm Bob Varsha along with Tommy Kendall. You're looking at the race leader, Alex Tagliani from Players Forsyth Racing. While we were away, Michael Andretti had a quick pit stop. This man, Adrian Fernandez, had an off and got back on again. Fernandez currently shown back in 13th spot. We'll take another look at it. Here was Fernandez spearing straight off in 10 and 11, the stadium section, patterned after the stadium at the Hockenheim Ring, Formula One track in Germany. Mario Dominguez has also pitted. He appears to have engine or electrical problems. The back of the car is off. There is Dominguez, one of 3 Mexican drivers in the field. And the crew working at a very leisurely pace. Let's get down to Derek Daly.
Bob, before we get ready for a flurry of pit stops here, consider this. Like a racing driver who works out all winter long, you're never really race fit until you get into the racing car. No matter how much closed door practice or behind closed doors in the shops these boys do, until you have the pressure situation of race day, you never really get sharp on your pit stops. That's what makes the flurry is about to come up very interesting.
Working lap number 25 of 85. The top 6 cars, Tagliani, Franchitti, Fittipaldi, D'Amata, Jourdain, and Pappas, have yet to pit. All the other cars have pitted at least once. Mario Dominguez sits calmly as his race begins to slip away.
Fernandez is going backwards. His teammate Nakano went by him at the hairpin last lap, and now there goes the other target car, Junqueira.
Bruno Junqueira.
And he's only one spot ahead now of Michael Andretti, who also was off track and was way behind him at the start.
Fernandez now 14th. Having just been passed by Junqueira, drops to the 14th spot. Stadium section. Long right-hander, then a left onto the front straightaway. On board with Fernandez. Notice the pad he uses to shield his right elbow from the shift linkage. Sequential gear shift. Forward to go up a gear, or down a gear. Pull back to go up a gear.
And you watch, he's very deliberate when he lets go between shifts, because it has an electronic spark interrupt where they just pull on that and it cuts the engine for a split second to allow the dog rings to disengage and for it to fall into the next gear. So that's why he lets go.
Three gears down.
You see Michael right behind Adrian on course.
There's Michael. Fernandez just ahead. This is 14th and 15th on the racetrack.
Alex Tagliani is in the pits.
He's heading for Scott Pruitt. He passes the car of Mario Dominguez, who has now climbed out. The young Mexican's race is over. Both rookies are out. Down to Pruitt.
I'm down here. What they're going to do is they're looking at, oh, they're having a shock change. They had a problem getting the car up in the air. They're having to go to manual up in the air. They're having some sort of air jack problem. You can see they're up on a mechanical lifts. 4 tires are going on. 1 turn out of the front wing. Car's fuel on his way. Down to you, Calvin.
You see Cristiano D'Amata coming out, followed by his teammate at Newman House, Christian Fittipaldi. There's Dario Franchitti, who has also pitted.
What a heartbreak for Tags. All that distance he'd made up by putting in that series of fastest laps went away when the air jacks broke.
They all pitted, all these top cars, right on the number, lap 27.
And they're on the radio to Tags right now saying, hey, just cool it. You know, obviously they've had a big setback, but they know they have probably the fastest car. So they're just trying to keep him calm. Tony Sacali on the radio saying, take it easy.
Oh, we understand there was also a problem with Dario Franchitti's stop. Calvin Fish, what can you tell us?
Well, Dario came in. They were only going to make one adjustment, and that was to the front tire pressure. Dario said he had a little bit of understeer. They're very happy with the car. They felt once he cleared Adrian, he was as fast as the leader. But when he came in, they were doing the routine tire change. The jack collapsed. Actually, the hose came off. The car went back down on the ground without the rear wheels being on. So there's a slight delay there. The crew really reacted very quickly. The Team Green boys got him back on course. Probably lost about 3 seconds maximum.
This is for position. Adrian Fernandez and Michael Andretti. Tony Kanaan is 2 laps down behind them, the 3rd car in line. As I mentioned, the top 6 cars pitted. Let's get more from Derek Daly on Cristiano D'Amata.
Indeed, Bob, a bit of a strange situation. We heard earlier on about Fernandez having traction control problems. D'Amata's biggest complaint is he cannot get enough rear grip. Tommy, you would have thought traction control, if anything, would have increased the rear grip, but not so with these front runners.
Now the order is reestablished. Patrick Carpentier runs first. Paul Tracy, who started 19th, is now second despite 2 pit stops. Team Green managed to keep him on the lead lap, but both of those drivers, Carpentier and Tracy, have gone 24 laps since their last stop, so they'll have to stop within the next 3 in order to stay within the rules. We'll take a quick break. We want to be back here when the race leaders pull in. Stand by for more live from the Kart FedEx Championship. Welcome back live to Fundadora Park in Monterrey, Mexico in round 1 of the Kart FedEx Championship Series for 2002, the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix. You're looking at the top 2 cars in the running order. Patrick Carpentier leading Paul Tracy, but both men have gone 26 laps since their last pit stop. They'll have to stop this time around, and their crews are in the pit lane.
Started out as an all-Mexican day, but the guys to the north have something to say about that. It's been Tagliani, Carpentier, and Tracy, the big stories thus far.
There's Carpentier's team.
And Carpentier did not pit. And
Tracy pitted, Carpentier did not. This could be a huge blunder.
The penalty for that is a black flag, but they cannot serve it when they come in. They will have to come in and then come in again for a drive-through, perhaps.
First Tracy, here's Calvin Fish.
Routine stop. Barry Green said Paul is extremely happy with the car. There's no adjustments, just fresh bridge stop. Full of fuel, he's on his way. Remember, guys, he will need only 1 more stop. He can now split the distance at 27.
And we're hearing from race controller, they will black flag Patrick Carpentier, and from our understanding, he will probably have to come in for a second one. This will be his normal service. We'll go back out and probably have to serve it again.
While Tracy comes back on track, the players in deck crew cannot believe it that Patrick Carpentier did not pit. There you see the black flag indicator.
This is the toughest lap for a guy like Paul Tracy. He's in amongst all those guys with hot tires. He's trying not to lose track position.
Tracy comes back out in 8th position. Let's take a look at the crew. When Carpentier went flashing by, they thought, well, you know darn well what they thought. Scott Pruitt.
Down here, they were certainly expecting him to be in. There's a problem with the radios. They aren't being able to get a hold of him. We see him coming in right now. It's going to be a standard stop, but this is a huge blow for this team. They had such a great run going. They came in at lap 4. This is lap 31 now. So unfortunately, this is going to be a tough day. But with these new rules, these are the things that are going to happen. As you can see him pulling up on the stops as we speak. Like I said, this is going to be a standard stop, 4 tires and fuel.
Now we understand that the radio interchange, you see Carpentier is somewhat emotional in the car. We understand he asked the team, why didn't you ask me to pit earlier?
I imagine you'll see some new software written for the dashes for exactly this problem, where the dash will start flashing from here on out.
Light bulb, yeah. On board now with the new race leader, this is Cristiano D'Amata. As Tommy mentioned, Patrick Carpentier will still have to serve his black flag, so he'll be back into the pit shortly. Meanwhile, Cristiano D'Amata is right where he's been looking to be all weekend, out front. We'll take a break and return with more live from Monterrey, Mexico in just a moment.
Anybody wants to win Mexico, they're going to have to beat me first.
The little man from Brazil, Cristiano D'Amata, leads the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix, hoping to remain undefeated here in the opening round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. D'Amata, last year's winner, has the field right where he wants them in his rearview mirror as we work lap 35 of 85. D'Amata began the season last year with a victory, ended it with 2 victories, wound up 5th in points, the best of his career in the Champ Cars to date. Here's a look at Brazilian drivers last year. Helio Castro Neves with Team Penske has moved on to the Indy Racing League. Cristiano D'Amata, both with 3 victories, 4th and 5th in the championship. Gil de Ferran, of course, was last year's champion. He and Castro Neves are teammates in the IRL this year. Has been a predominantly Brazilian driver series in recent years, but their numbers are down just that little bit this year.
He's catching up to the back of Junqueira, and what we have is the race really is the unknown for D'Amata is Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy only has 1 more stop to make, and everybody else towards the front of the field has 2. So how long does it take to come in, change 4 tires, get fuel, and get back up to speed on cold tires? That will be the measure. You saw that hero outlap that Paul Tracy did, only lost 1 spot to those guys on hot tires, was able to hold off Oriol Servia. Right now he is 38.2 seconds behind D'Amata. So those 2 guys are really racing each other, and now D'Amata's in traffic coming up on the back of Junqueira.
See the biggest movers of the race thus far. Max Pappas, 11 places. Paul Tracy, 10 spots. Scott Dixon, last year's Rookie of the Year, has moved up 8 positions. Tora Takagi and countryman Shinji Nakano of Japan, 7 and 6 spots, respectively. Of the 3 engine manufacturers in the Kart FedEx Championship Series, Honda, Ford, and Toyota have all led today. Toyota is the only engine that Cristiano D'Amata has ever driven with in the Kart FedEx Championship. Right now, it is powering him into first place. We'll take a break and be right back. Welcome back live to Monterrey, Mexico, where round 1 of the Kart FedEx Championship Series continues. The Tecate Telmex Grand Prix live here on Speed Vision. I'm Bob Barsha with Tommy Kendall. Looking at Paul Tracy, currently runs in the number 8 spot. I just called it Speed Vision, which I'm sure I'll do at least once a weekend throughout the rest of the season. Of course, it's Speed Channel.
The artist formerly known as.
Right, exactly. Now there's your race leader, Cristiano D'Amata. I'm looking at his front wing, which may have been damaged, and here's why. Just 1 lap ago, while we were in break, D'Amata came up at the back of Shinji Nakano, got him with the right front end plate, taking down the Japanese driver's left rear tire. On board now with D'Amata.
He's quite a ways alongside there. He tried to get out when he realized that Shinji was coming in on him, but it's hard to tell the damage. He definitely took a chunk off the right front wing, and if I had to guess, probably the horizontal skirt, perhaps. Calvin?
Well, the situation is the team believes the car is okay. Cristiano said everything feels fine. They've been kind of chipping away on those front wings all weekend because Cristiano is one of the few guys who's really been using these big bumps through some of the chicane areas. So everything is okay. They're going to check it out on his routine stop. Bit of news on Adrian Fernandez. He's having brake problems. They're trying to work with the brake pliers, trying to get the pedal back on that car, take some pressure away from one end of the car. But this was a concern coming into this race for the Lola teams. The new setup is setting the air through the hub area of the upright, and that really gave them some concern in preseason testing. In fact, 2 of the teams went to last year's setup. So Adrian Fernandez definitely working with a wounded car.
Well, he just said fastest lap of the race. I guess he wanted everybody to know just how badly his car is hurt. Let's get down to Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here with Mario Dominguez, rookie to the series. It's in your home country. This must be very difficult.
It's very, very painful, Scott. I tell you, we were doing great in our debut race, and you know, we were very competitive all through the weekend. We were very fast in the warm-up. We were 3rd fastest. I think we had all the tools to be doing great today, and unfortunately, the something with the exhaust gave up. And I'm just sorry for the team, and I'm very sad myself. But when I got out of the car, this whole crowd just cheered me so much. It made me feel much, much better. So that's at least something to fight for in the next races, and my lifelong dream of racing in the kart series has come true.
Keep your chin up. Bob?
Thanks very much, Scott. There is the other Mexican driver in the field, Michel Jourdain Jr., whose father, Michel Sr., and Uncle Bernard both raced in the Kart FedEx Championship Series. He had a wonderful day on Friday. He topped the timesheets in provisional qualifying for much of the 60-minute session, but used up all 15 of his allowed laps in the process, and he had none left at the end when the track was at its fastest. Adrian Fernandez, Christian Fittipaldi, and 2 other drivers pipped his provisional pole time in the last 60 seconds of the session.
Michel has looked very tidy all weekend long. It looks like he's getting stronger as the race goes along. Now the hopes of the Mexican fans pretty much look like they're on his shoulder. Adrian obviously still running, but he's struggling with brake bias problems and perhaps traction control. So it looks like Michel Jourdain, who is only 13 seconds off the lead in closing on Tagliani and Franchitti.
This is Fernandez and Andretti battling over 10th place, but let's get back to Jourdain down to the pits.
I just want to make TK a little bit more jealous because I'm up here with the champagne and caviar. This is the Gigante suite. Believe it or not, 4 weeks ago, there was no deal done for Michel Jourdain. Then he joins Rahal, does one test session, and comes out and does a great job here. Gigante are one of 92 suites here, serving 15,000 people in corporate hospitality. They bought 20,000 tickets for their clients to come here and enjoy this event. So Gigante, a name that you will see in America, it's moving there later on this year. It means giant. It's a little bit chilly though, but I do enjoy the champagne. TK, what do you think?
You Irishmen are hard workers, I gotta say that.
Well, the crowd here is in excess of 110,000. This is the first of 2 events we'll run in Mexico. The second one coming up later this year will be in Mexico City at the Hermanos Rodriguez circuit, and we understand we may see as many as 300,000 fans packing the place. We'll be back. Welcome back live to Fundidora Park and the kart Tecate Telmex Grand Prix. Now, coming up next Saturday on Speed Channel, one of the classic events in all of motorsports, the 12 Hours at Sebring, and we'll have it for you live from start to finish, only here on Speed Channel. Be sure to tune in at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and take it all the way to the finish. On the racetrack, Adrian Fernandez, who started from pole, now finds himself in 10th spot, trying to hold off the attention of Michael Andretti. And just behind them, last year's Rookie of the Year, Scott Dixon. So those 3 cars in your picture are all racing for position. We are just past the halfway mark. 44 laps down, 41 remaining in the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix.
Now, for each individual team's fuel strategy to work out, they need to run on clear tracks, especially guys who are on lighter fuel loads. So Michael being stuck behind Adrian, they're on the same, at least, pit sequence, whether they have the same amount of fuels on board. But let's go down to the pits with Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here with Brian, general manager for Newman Haas, calling Christian Fittipaldi's pit today. How are things going, and when are you going to come back in?
We're looking to stop around about lap 54 right now with Christian, a little earlier with Cristiano. Our main worry is Paul Tracy. He took a very early pit stop, and he's running just about the amount behind us. That means with 1 stop less, which is the schedule he's on right now, we're going to be neck and neck, and we all go for the checkered flag.
Do you expect any changes when he comes in for his pit stop?
No, we're very happy with both cars. Both drivers say the car's very well balanced.
Great. Back to the booth.
Michael Andretti completes his 2nd stop on lap 44.
I think his guys might have pulled him early. He was being held up maybe behind Adrian. They both stopped around the same time the first time, and so this might be an effort to get him away from Adrian and hopefully get some clear laps down. Now, Cristiano, you see it set fast lap again. He's lowered it 1/10 of a second, subsequently the last 3 laps in a row. Now, we don't know if he took a full load of fuel or if that was his short fuel load to really make a run at putting some distance on Paul Tracy. Conceivably, he could have more fuel on board in the last 2 sequences.
Christian Fittipaldi goes by his former teammate at Newman Haas, Michael Andretti. Right now it's a Newman Haas 1-2. Cristiano D'Amata, and 8.1 seconds back his teammate Fittipaldi. The last 1-2 finish for Newman Haas back in 1999 at Road America, when Christian Fittipaldi picked up his first career series victory, beating his teammate Andretti.
This is absolutely critical that Paul gets by Nakano or Takagi without being held up. And Paul, as you know, is not adverse to using the front of that Reynard as a battering ram. He calls it the chrome horn, and he doesn't want to do that. He'd like to get by clean, but he's racing with Cristiano. He's not racing with anybody else, and he has to get by. I expect to see him at his most aggressive.
Takagi will be the next car to pit within the next 3, so Tracy could wait, but I'm with you, Tommy. I don't think he wants to. Let's get more on Tracy's situation from pit lane.
Actually down here with Kim Green, who's looking after Michael Andretti, and Michael's made 2 pit stops now, a little bit earlier than we thought. What's the routine here, Kim?
Well, we're playing some tactics. We had a spin earlier, so that's confused things a little bit. We were being held up by Fernandez, so we thought we might even our stints up a little bit. The last stop, we won't need a full tank of fuel. That'll help. We're looking for some track position, a bit of gambling, and we'll be going home to the end. And Michael can do it. Michael's very good.
Michael seems to be struggling for grip all weekend long. The track's starting to come in now. We're seeing some pretty competitive lap times out there. Is the racetrack coming to Michael like you hoped?
Well, certainly the car balance is pretty good. It's very hard work out there. It's very, very fast pace. I think the spin hurt us a bit, but Michael's working hard to make up some time.
All right, Kim. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Calvin. My bad. I thought he was going to address Paul Tracy. Next car to pit should be Adrian Fernandez, who has 2 laps to get his next stop in, as Tora Takagi comes back on out.
And he got out of Paul Tracy's way. He pitted on that lap. I don't think he held him up at all. If so, maybe just a few tenths. Now, Paul Tracy right now is 48 seconds behind. So when D'Amata makes this next stop, we'll see exactly how long it's taking him to stop, start, get everything going, and get up to speed on cold tires.
Here comes Alex Tagliani in from 5th spot. Scott Pruitt awaits him.
They've had a problem with their air jack, so they have to go up manually. This is actually a little early. We were talking about strategy. This is playing to a different strategy than some of these other guys right now. As you see, the fuel is done, 4 tires, and they're going to send him.
12.1 seconds, fairly long stop. Tagliani, the only driver in the top 6 that has pitted for the 2nd time. There is Cristiano D'Amata, who was 1st in this race last year, 2nd in the 2nd round, picking up 36 championship points, but he scored only 41 in the next 13 races before winning the final 2 races of the season on a season-ending bender that put him in 5th place in the championship. He'll want to do better in midseason this year. Welcome back to Monterrey, Mexico, the capital of Nuevo León State, site of the opening round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series for 2002, the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix. We are here with you live on Speed Channel on an absolutely beautiful day for racing. There is the race leader, Cristiano D'Amata, coming around to complete lap 50 of 85. His teammate, Christian Fittipaldi, runs in 2nd. Both men have completed 22 laps since their last stop, as have the rest of the top 5. So the new rule calling for a run no longer than 27 laps at this racetrack. It'll change at other tracks, but 27 is the magic number here in Mexico this weekend. They'll have to be in within the next 5.
It was a good look at Cristiano's front wing. The front of the main element is damaged, and the vertical fence that you see there on Christian's car is gone on the right front. But it obviously isn't hurting him. He's running a series of fast laps. Here's Christian into the pits.
Down here with Christian right now. He was asking, are you sure we want to come in? He said, yeah, you're catching traffic. We're more worried about getting the quickest lap time. Otherwise, in a standard pit stop, they made a slight front wing change. They made a slight front wing change to take a little bit out. His car's getting just a little bit too loose for him. Bob?
Michel Jourdain Jr. also pits. It's a quick stop for the Team Rahal boys, and he is back out.
You see the team juggling traffic. They pull their guys in before they get held up. But the fact that they're coming in around 50, 51 instead of 54, which is how far they could go if they'd taken on a full load of fuel, tells me that this was their gamble to not run with a full load, and then which could have taken them to 54. Another scenario, now Cristiano's in at the which will be the end of the 51st lap.
This is a strategy we often see in Formula One here on Speed Channel. Use the pits in order to gain track position. Calvin Fish awaits the race leader.
Cristiano D'Amata brings it in. There you see the damage on the right front wing. It looks like the fence is actually okay, TK, but certainly the front main element is damaged. There should be tires. They're going to load him up with fuel. He's out of here, and this will mean on his final stop, he'll only need about 7 or 8 laps of gas, TK. It should just be a splash.
It brings up another situation. The magic lap is 58, because 58 is when you can stop, and that's when Paul Tracy will be stopping, and that takes him all the way to the end. Anytime between when Paul stops and Cristiano stops, it's a low percentage, but if we get a yellow, Cristiano is sunk if he does not get in before the field bunches up. So there's a little bit higher risk to staying out. It's conceivable you could have Cristiano come in now and come in again at lap 58 to obviate that possibility.
Oh, fighting cold tires is D'Amata as he pounds the curbs. He's been doing that all weekend. He'll give up one spot on the racetrack.
And Max Pappas forces his way through.
That is Pappas, who's currently shown in second spot, taking it away from D'Amata. Pappas will have a pit stop coming up in the next 3, as will the new race leader Dario Franchitti, who is well up the road. Now, a new feature in our coverage of the Kart FedEx Championship this year, there you see Franchitti, will be a microphone and camera in race control, so that we have questions. We can go to Gary Bernard, the senior manager of competition for Kart. Gary is on the line. We'll get back to him in just a moment. We want to catch Dario Franchitti's pit stop. He is in from the race lead. Calvin Fish.
Dario Franchitti brings it in. Team Coolgreen goes to work. Now, last time they had a pit stop, they're now actually holding the hose in position because this did become disconnected. Routine fuel was in a quick one. He's out of here.
Not before tossing the drink bottle at the last possible moment. So Max Pappas assumes the race lead, but he will be in the pits shortly as Franchitti makes his exit. Cristiano D'Amata moves into second spot. Pappas will become the 6th leader in the race today. Let's get back to Gary Bernard in race control. Gary, I have to ask you, was your heart in your throat when you saw those 3 incidents on the very first lap of this race that knocked out 3 cars?
That was a bad situation for us. These things tend to happen at the start of races, and we got it turned around fairly quickly, and it's been a pretty good race since then.
What's the feeling regarding the way the new rules are affecting both qualifying and the race we're watching here today?
We thought qualifying was a great success on Friday. We had the problem with the weather yesterday that kind of slowed it down a little. So far today, we've got about 7 or 8 different strategies going right now with the pit stops, and we're all really excited here. It's a lot of fun to watch the race for us, too, right now.
No question about it. We know you're all fans, and we'll be with you all year long. Thanks, Gary. We get back to the racetrack. Max Pappas leads this man, Cristiano D'Amata. Dario Franchitti comes back on track in 3rd place. Paul Tracy is 4th. Christian Fittipaldi is 5th. Now, Max Pappas, the race leader, has 25 laps since his last stop, and he is in. Calvin Fish awaits the Sigma Autosports driver.
Well, they bring him in. They've been struggling all weekend with rear grip. They found a faulty rear differential, but the team is working hard. Car slides across as the right rear man puts the tire on. They're making a slight tire pressure adjustment. The car's still loose, and Max on his way.
And you saw that the jack man stands at the back of the car. That's a recent change in Kart FedEx Championship Series racing in the name of safety. Rather than stepping to the side of the car to plug in the air hose and raise the car up, that jack is now at the back. And Cristiano D'Amata reassumes the race lead. We'll take a break and return with more live from the first round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. There's your top 5. Stay with us. Welcome back to Mexico and round 1 of the Kart FedEx Championship Series for 2002, the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix in Fundidora Park. Bob Marsh and Tommy Kendall with you, along with Scott Pruitt, Derek Daly, and Calvin Fish. The race leader is Cristiano D'Amata. 2nd place, Paul Tracy has a pit stop in his future. There is D'Amata, hoping to begin this season exactly the way he began last year, by winning here in Monterrey. Comes around to complete lap 56 of 85.
Now, this gives me a sneak preview. These few laps before Paul Tracy pits in 3 is about how it will look at the end of the race. They each have 1 more stop to make. Paul Tracy should be a little bit longer because he will have to take on more fuel. D'Amata's will be a tire only is all he'll need. And Paul Tracy is in, which tells me this is a big development. Go ahead, Calvin.
Well, there's problems down here. For some reason, I was just talking to Barry Green. He said everything is perfect. 58 is the number we have to hit. For some reason, Paul had to come in and let's try and get quick work with Barry. Barry, you shook your head, mate. What's happened?
And a fuel pressure spike. We're not sure. We just had to come in. We thought he's going to run out of fuel.
Well, you can see the frustration there. They had this thing measured. They thought if they got 2 more laps, he'd be exactly halfway between his last stop and the finish, and that would have been perfect. He's going to have to make another stop.
So it would appear. Now, we told you at the beginning of the show that the teams are learning to work with these rules, and it will be a work in process all season long, and it should make the races great fun to watch.
The way
Bring a calculator.
The way this 27 laps was calculated is they calculated what it would take to run, how many laps could they run at full rich, and the number they came up with was 27, which means they would run about 1.65 miles per gallon. The fact that he had to stop earlier means that they're either not picking up all the fuel or that he's getting worse mileage than that. So what that means, he cannot make it to the end without violating the 27 lap rule, so he will have to make another stop along with everybody else.
Paul Tracy came back on in 8th place. This is race leader Cristiano D'Amata coming up to put a lap on Michael Andretti and Adrian Fernandez. Andretti in 14th place.
That'll affect Paul more than Cristiano. Cristiano had 10 seconds in hand. That shows you how much he made up during that Demon mid-stint. He was about 5 seconds behind Paul before Paul pitted the time before, and this time when he came out, it had stabilized after Cristiano got his tires warm at about 10 seconds. That was an absolutely demon stint. Even with the tangling with Nakano, he still was able to put probably close to 15 seconds on Paul Tracy.
There you see Tracy. There is Dario Franchitti currently running second to D'Amata. Trying to work the math in my head. It is amazing. Christian Fittipaldi in third, just behind. Right now, let's recap what brought us to this point in the race. It began, of course, with incidents. This one, early on lap 1, involved Townsend Bell, Jimmy Vasser, and Kenny Brack, knocking 2 cars out of the race. Just a few turns later, Paul Tracy, charging from the back of the field, got together with Jimmy Vasser, and Vasser's race was over. 3 cars out of the race on lap 1. Alex Tagliani attacked race leader Adrian Fernandez early on, but could not hold the position in the S's. Got back on, but by then Fernandez was back out front. But then Fernandez began to suffer problems. Here's another look at the give and take between the 2 drivers. This time, Tagliani would not be denied. Pit stops have been very much a part of the race throughout, but they really victimized Tagliani's teammate, Patrick Carpentier, who was in a race with Dario Franchitti for the position, but he missed his assigned 27-lap pit window, was thus black flagged and suffered the penalty. Carpentier currently back in 7th spot. D'Amata out front. Let's look at our Bridgestone race summary. The leader is Cristiano D'Amata. We've had 6 lead changes among 6 drivers, 1 caution for 3 laps. D'Amata has led 24 laps of this race. 4 cars now officially out. Mario Dominguez, the young Mexican rookie, is the 4th.
This would be a good time to give Bridgestone a shout. In their debut in the series, a big portion of the credit for Cristiano's stint there has to go to the Bridgestone tires. You saw as the fuel burned off, the tires stayed the same, and he kept getting faster and faster and faster. They stayed under him the entire stint. A brilliant debut for Bridgestone.
I mentioned Patrick Carpentier in 7th spot. He has made his latest pit stop. It is his 4th, including his black flag. Scott Pruitt, got more on that?
Yeah, Patrick, now you got to realize he can make it to the end now without any more stops. That's perfect. He had a little problem. You know, he had that miscue, had to come in for that stop and go. But as we've talked strategy today, he is the first one to come in. He does not have to stop again. So my bet is he's going to be in pretty good shape here when the checkered flag falls.
Working lap number 60 of 85, and now we'll see how the strategies converge. We'll take a break and be back with more live from Monterrey, Mexico. Stand by for more. Welcome back to Fundidora Park in Monterrey, Mexico, where the opening round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series continues. You ride with race leader Cristiano D'Amata. Ahead on the road are Michael Andretti and Adrian Fernandez. But look at the front wing on D'Amata's car after that contact earlier with Shinji Nakano. Flapping around. Now, in yesterday's opening round of Kart's Driver Development Series, the Toyota Atlantic Championship, last year's Rookie of the Year, Joey Hand, absolutely crushed his front wing. The whole left side folded up on the car, and he still drove it to a podium finish in 3rd.
You know, Cristiano can afford to be a little bit patient, but these two cars in front of him, both Michael and Adrian, are starting to affect his strategy because he was running the quickest laps of the race. Now he's got a pretty decent lead over Dario. He has 13 seconds in hand, but this has slowed him down about 1.5 seconds per lap. So he can't do that for very long before he has to decide, do I force my way by these guys or do I wait for them to make a stop?
The top 7 cars, D'Amata, Franchitti, Fittipaldi, Tagliani, Jourdain, Dixon, and Pappas have a stop to make. Paul Tracy in 8th has made 4 stops, and as you heard earlier, fuel consumption problems are probably going to force him to make 1 more. And that may put paid to his chances of winning this race. While you watch D'Amata in action, let's hear from Proud Papa standing by with Derek Daly.
Indeed, very much a family affair. Cristiano's mother is here. Antonio, and I know you're concerned right now that Cristiano needs to pit fairly soon.
Because he lost 5 seconds. 5 seconds behind Michael and Adrian. So it has to be 1 more stop. So do it now. What difference make?
I know, having won 14 championships yourself, you know the importance of winning early in the season.
Sure, we have to win this race. We have the best car in the track, so we can win this. We need to win this, okay?
He looked fairly calm earlier, but he doesn't sound quite as calm as he looked earlier.
Thanks very much. Maybe he needs to not tell you. Maybe he needs to tap Brian Lyles on the shoulder.
No question what Cristiano D'Amata's dad thinks.
I'm not sure I disagree.
Yeah, pit now if you're being held up. Get that last stop in when you can run clean and green to the end and get some space on the track. Maybe have another look at that wobbly front wing as well. The gap down to 12.1 seconds from first place D'Amata to second place Dario Franchitti. Learn more about what's happening with Paul Tracy. Here's Calvin Fish.
Well, the situation was they saw that fuel spike on the telemetry, and what happened was they do have a fuel pickup problem, as Tommy suggested, because they're getting good mileage. They should have been good to do those last 2 or 3 laps what they needed. So this is really heartbreak for that team. They had the problems early. The strategy was playing right to them, and suddenly the car will not pick up the last 5 gallons of gas. Bit of news on Franchitti, his teammate. They put a short load in here the last time, so he's going to be coming in at around lap 69 or 70 and have about 15 to go.
See Dario Franchitti, the Flying Scot, picking up more than a second a lap. It's now down to 10.6 seconds first to second. This is Alex Tagliani. Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here at Tagliani's pit. Everything pretty standard pit stop. Now you got to remember they had an air gap problem. They're losing some time. Mechanically putting it up in the air. But pretty clean. He said he thought he might just brush the wall, but he didn't think he hurt the car. Bob?
Thank you, Scott. There's Franchitti, trying to wake up the echoes of the season he had a couple of years ago when he tied Juan Pablo Montoya on points for the championship. It was decided in the Colombian driver's favor based on more victories. But it was a great season for Franchitti. He'd like to recapture that after a couple of tough years. Cristiano D'Amata remains the race leader as Franchitti flashes across the start-finish line. He is now less than 10 seconds behind. We'll be right back. Getting off on the right foot in the Kart FedEx Championship can mean everything. In 1980, Johnny Rutherford won the season's first race and the title. Rick Mears did the same in 1982 for Roger Penske. In his 1993 rookie campaign, Nigel Mansell with Newman Haas Racing won the first race, then the Kart Championship, not to mention the Rookie of the Year title. The year before making his jump to Formula One, Jacques Villeneuve rode his season-opening momentum to the 1995 championship with Team Green. And in 1996, Jimmy Vasser started a string of 4 straight series titles for Target Chip Ganassi with a win in the season's first race. Here's a look at the season opening winners who went on to the series championship. Some great names. Cristiano D'Amata, if he can hold on to win this race, will definitely be thinking championship in 2002. Down in pit lane, Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here with team owner Bobby Rahal. Michel Jourdain's program came together late, but wow, he's doing a terrific job.
He's doing a super job all week, all through testing.
I think this young man can do great things, and so far so good. We got our fingers crossed. One more stop to go, but hopefully we can stay where we are.
Now the strategy to the end. Any idea when you're going to make that last pit stop? Can you tell us?
It'll probably be in about within the next 10 laps, and we'll put the tires will take longer than the fuel.
Good luck.
Tight smile there for Bobby Rahal, himself a 3-time Kart FedEx champion. Now looks like Shinji Nakano has swapped ends.
Bobby Rahal really giving a lot away there. By the rules, he has to be within the next 9 laps. So really giving us a bone there. Thanks, Bob.
There is Michel Jourdain Jr. Second-generation racer, now driving for Team Rahal as a teammate to Jimmy Vasser, who was out of this race on lap 1. Not a good weekend at all for the 96 Series champion.
And D'Amata's dad has to be in a complete lather by now because the lead gap is down to 7.7 seconds. Michael has peeled off in the pits, but now he is stuck behind Adrian, and he lost about 9/10 of a second that lap. So, I mean, he's got some time in hand. Both drivers need to make some stops, but he's given away all that hard-earned track position.
There's when the top 5 must pit. Down to Derek Daly.
Quick update. Antonio D'Amata is absolutely jumping up and down. He was so calm and collected as he watched it until this happened. While he was behind Michael, he was on the radio screaming to try and have CART blue flag Michael to let him by. He lost in excess of 7 seconds just trying to make his way by. That's a huge amount when you see your lead gobbled up.
And Antonio D'Amata knows whereof he speaks, a many-time racing champion in his native Brazil before sending his son on to the United States, where he has flourished. The gap is down to 7.4 seconds from first place D'Amata to second place Franchitti to Calvin Fish.
Well, an update on Dario. We thought we'd see him in around lap 69 or 70, but I just spoke to the team. They said with D'Amata being held up, we're going to probably leave him out there a little bit longer. But what you get into, guys, is the fact that the tires change takes about 7 seconds, and that's about 18 gallons of fuel. So if they leave it much longer than that, they're going to be waiting on tires rather than how much fuel they put in the car. So it's really a strategy game once again, but they believe as long as he's making ground on D'Amata, they're going to stay out with the leader.
And that assumes that your pit stop goes well. Keep in mind, this is the first race of the year, and as hard as your team may have been working, their pit stop techniques may not be in mid-season form yet.
And the first sign that Cristiano is equally frustrated, he's waved his hand twice now. He's not going to get a whole lot of sympathy from the fans here, but if he can get the attention of the chief steward, Adrian has a right, to stay on the lead lap. He would argue that up and down, and he does. So they have a decision to make on the team. Do you pull him in and get him away from those guys?
Dario Franchitti comes off the corner, flashes across the start-finish line. He has taken a full second off of D'Amata's lead. It's down to 6.4 seconds. We'll be back with more live from Monterrey, Mexico, and the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Welcome back live to Monterrey. Adrian Fernandez peels off into the pits, leaving clear track ahead of our race leader, Cristiano D'Amata. This is Fernandez who is in. He was driving the Brazilian crazy as D'Amata followed Fernandez, the pole sitter for today's race, lap after lap. The question is, why did he stay there, Derek Daly?
It's an interesting strategy here. Newman Haas believed that Franchitti, even if he caught him, would not be able to pass him, so they're quite prepared to take the gamble. However, as I stood talking to them, watching the telemetry, they were going to give Cristiano in 2 laps. As soon as Fernandez peeled off, they left him back out there. So remember, it's the light, short fuel fill they're taking the gamble on to get him his last stop to go to the finish.
Michel Jourdain completes his final stop. The gap was 4.4 seconds. D'Amata to Franchitti when Fernandez peeled off for the pit lane. See if Dario is able to close up any more now that the race leader has clean track in front of him.
If they don't have any trouble with traffic or on their last pit stop, it won't matter. He still has 4.5 seconds in hand, but you gave back 12 seconds, so that could come back to haunt them. Now, I know what they're trying to do. They want to make sure that the fuel doesn't take longer than the tires, but I don't think there's any danger of that. And so to sit there and have Carl chomp on a cigar and get all worked out of shape, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, Adrian's there. This could very well come back to haunt them. If they have no troubles from here on out, it'll be moot, but they might wish they had those seconds back.
And D'Amata claws back 0.3 of a second on that last lap. But Dario Franchitti can now see D'Amata clearly in front of him.
The other thing is Christian has also been the fastest car on the track, so he will be putting in some really tough laps. A, to put some distance on Franchitti, and B, so that he doesn't come out behind Fernandez again.
Here comes Franchitti. And just 4 seconds up the road behind him is the third place car of Christian Fittipaldi. Paul Tracy pits for the 5th time today.
Stop that he shouldn't have had to make.
Fittipaldi should be in shortly. He has 23 laps on this load of fuel. D'Amata 22, checking the gap this time by. D'Amata has crossed the stripe. And he crosses it with his fastest lap of the race thus far. Dario Franchitti has chosen to pit. Calvin.
Dario brings it in, hits his marks perfectly. There'll be no adjustment. I haven't seen any of the green cars have an adjustment all day long. Both Motorola and the two green cars. Full fuel. Dario's on his way.
.50-mile-an-hour pit lane speed limit must be absolutely maddening at this point. Christian Fittipaldi is in. Scott Pruitt.
Yeah, just a standard stop. 4 tires, just enough fuel to make it to the end. A little slower than they would have liked, but they're back on their way.
Now it's down to D'Amata as Fittipaldi comes back out. Fast lap of the race for Cristiano D'Amata, who has the hammer well and truly down now. Moments ago, this was Adrian Fernandez getting them all locked up, trying to keep Max Pappas behind him. Pappas in 4th place in the race right now. He wants none of that. This has not turned out to be the day Adrian Fernandez was hoping for. This is D'Amata across the stripe with a lap at 76.260, 9/10 slower than the previous one. Michael Andretti.
Christian trying to hold Michael off on cold tires. If he get his tires up to temperature here, another couple corners, he can probably start to pull away from Michael. His fast lap being 1.4 seconds better than Michael's best, so if he can just get on the straightaway here, he should be able to settle back into his rhythm.
Out of the stadium section into the long left-hander that leads to the start-finish straightaway. Sun beginning to grow low over the mountains that surround Monterrey, Mexico. The driver's eyes in turn 1. It's a tighter turn 1 than it looks like on the track map. It's almost 90 degrees.
I talked about it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You haven't had a yellow all day, but now that everybody has stopped except Cristiano, if we were to yellow flag and they closed the pits and he did not get in before they packed up, he would join at the back of the pack. So it's low percentage, but that is a risk. As long as they stay out until they make that last stop, that's something that tips it slightly in favor of getting in as soon as you can.
There's Franchitti still in 2nd. The Haas team is in the pit lane for race leader Cristiano D'Amata. Right now the gap back to Franchitti is 40.227 seconds. Franchitti is going to go as fast as he possibly can right now. On board with D'Amata.
Now, the best I can tell, he's 41 seconds behind D'Amata right now. I think it'll probably take him 30 seconds with the short fill to get back out and up to speed. So at the end of his first complete lap, I expect him to still have probably 10 seconds in hand over Dario. He's turned in some really quick laps in the meantime once he got clear of Adrian.
Leader is in. D'Amata heads for the pit lane.
Watch your speed, Chris. Watch your speed. Remember, this pit lane's slippery. Look for Timmy and hit your marks, Chris. Nice and easy. Hit your marks.
This is a high-stakes gamble here. When Franchitti peeled off, the Newman Haas team looked around and said, yes, exactly what we thought might happen. There he gets the short fill. Now watch where Franchitti comes out, and this high-stakes gamble might have worked to absolute perfection.
Looked like they had a little trouble at the right rear on D'Amata's car. Franchitti is on the front straight.
Two cars together in turn one. Right behind D'Amata, he's clear.
That's Tony Kanaan.
The track is clear, so Franchitti can come through. So now the only question now is how much time will it take Cristiano to get those tires up to temperature? A little bit of trouble. It costs about another 5 seconds in the pits, more than the short fill, but he still should have 4, 5, 6 seconds in hand by the time he gets back up to speed.
D'Amata has resumed as the race leader. No word on what the other car was. Let's see if we can have another look here. Just as D'Amata comes out, Havoc behind him.
Kanana and Takagi.
Tora Takagi, who spins into the pit exit lane. Here's another angle. Takagi tried to go, Kanaan tried to go down the inside of Takagi, and that will bring out a full course yellow, the second of today's race. And that will set up a dash. 77 laps complete.
A little bit of everything.
Now, how will CART play this one? Can they get Takagi's car out of the way?
Boogie, slow the 6 car down. Slow the 6 car down.
Franchitti has crossed the line. He'll be closing up behind D'Amata, and he'll be right on his gearbox when we restart. Fittipaldi has crossed start finish. Into the pits comes Max Pappas.
Well, a slight delay down here on the jack getting the car up in the air, but this has been a great run for this Sigma Autosport team. They were waiting. They're going to bring him in about the next lap. This yellow's worked out perfectly. Can he hold on to that top 5 finish today? A great run for Mad Max.
You notice the shark's teeth on the front wing support. In his 100th CART career start. And Max Pappas, one of the great personalities in this game. So, our second full course caution. The safety car is out picking up the leader. The field will compress. All that hard work by D'Amata and his team will mean that he has pride of place just ahead of the queue when we go green. Swintal has the yellow flags out. We're under a full course caution with 80 laps complete and 5 to go in the opening round of the CART FedEx Championship Series, the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix. I'm Bob Barsha along with Tommy Kendall, Derek Daly, Scott Pruitt, and Calvin Fish. There you see the safety car has picked up race leader Cristiano D'Amata, but it took him an extra lap to get him. And that has caused a fuss. Down to Calvin Fish.
Well, we're down here in the Team Green pit. You're having a great run with Dario today, Alan, but the fact that the leaders were not picked up, you're thinking that D'Amata may get some tire temp you didn't want him to see.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame that the whole incident happened because Dario is having a great race. And obviously it's right down to the wire now the last few laps, but we'll see how it goes. He's happy with the car when the tyres are nice and warm, so we'll see how he gets on now.
D'Amata seems to have been the man all weekend other than the first day qualifying. Do you have anything for him under green conditions?
We'll give it our best, I'll tell you. We'll give it our best.
All right, mate, good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Well, what happened is the pace car did not pick up Cristiano, so he just kept going, acting like he didn't know what was going on. They were radioing to him. I can tell as a driver, if you don't want to hear it, you'll just say, well, the radio just went on the fritz there, and they have no guarantee. It was the pace car and CART's fault for not getting out in front. And now what that does, he ran and ran and ran. It does two things. He keeps tire temp, and it also makes 1 lap less that he has to defend the guys at the end of the race.
Frankitti's fourth position.
Everybody talking it over on the radio. Keep in mind, the next round of the CART FedEx Championship Series will be the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, and we'll have it for you here on Speed Channel as well as Fox. We'll begin with qualifying coverage Friday, April 12th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Speed, with CART Friday night at 10:30. Then on Saturday, we'll have qualifying at 4:30 Eastern live, and on Sunday, the race live on Fox. We'll be back. Flag of a proud nation, Mexico, host to the opening round of the CART FedEx Championship Series for 2002 here on Speed Channel. I'm Bob Barsha with Tommy Kendall, Derek Daly, Scott Pruitt, and Calvin Fish. The Tecate Telmex Grand Prix has 3 laps to go next time by, and we anticipate a green flag. The safety car is off. The race leader is Cristiano D'Amata, followed by Dario Franchitti and Christian Fittipaldi. Scott Pruitt.
Yeah, Christian is adamant for Toro to let him by. Both he and Dario want a chance to go. He's a lap down, and they're trying to get him to let him go by. Bob?
That's frustrating. I'll tell you what, Torres has been involved in a number of incidents today, being overtaken. Not an easy guy to get around. Hopefully they'll get the word to him and he'll get out of the way and let these guys go after Cristiano.
Takagi was involved in a collision with Tony Kanaan that brought out the yellow flag. Takagi continues. Kanaan has been pushed behind the wall.
There goes Christian down the inside. He couldn't get it stopped, though.
He had his shot at Franchitti. D'Amata opening up a bit of a gap. Takagi's a lap car. This is the second place car of Dario Franchitti. 2 to go next time by the flag stand.
And now on hot tires, Christian was about 8/10 quicker than Dario in terms of fast lap on the day. You see some lockup coming from Dario. Dario comes over and protects. Christian can't get it stopped. Dario knifes back underneath.
Patient move by Franchitti to stay on the racing line where the rubber is built up. It's very slick offline. Like Michel Jourdain trying to move forward. Now he is the 4th place car. He's looking for Fittipaldi.
Now Dario has to deal with Toro.
Across the line they come. 2 to go. Franchitti pulls up behind the red and white car of Takagi. Again, our pictures are coming to us from TV Azteca, the host broadcaster here in Mexico. Fittipaldi drawing closer and closer to Franchitti. Toyota in the back of D'Amata's car, Hondas for Franchitti. Fittipaldi has a Toyota, a Ford for Jourdain in 4th.
Dario is irate on the radio, screaming for them to have Toro let him by, and I don't blame him. I mean, earlier in the race, you can defend this, but there's no reason for Takagi to stay in the way there.
There's Fittipaldi.
This is a shame.
White flag is out for race leader Cristiano D'Amata. Franchitti has to make something happen now. Takagi puts a couple of wheels off on the right side. If D'Amata can hold on, it will be the 9th season opening victory for Newman Haas Racing. They've been victorious in the first race of the season for nearly half of their 2 decades in the Kart FedEx Championship Series.
Kart is now asking the 5 car to get out of the way. I mean, it's a moot point now. He's not under pressure from Fittipaldi, but now is not the time to show that you can run with the leaders.
There's Takagi. His 3rd year in this series, matching his 3 years in Formula One. There is the man up front, Cristiano D'Amata, who it appears will be the first driver to win back-to-back season openers since another Newman Haas driver, Michael Andretti, in 97 and 98 in Florida. Victory for Cristiano D'Amata for the 2nd year in a row in Monterrey. He remains undefeated.
Be careful on turn 6. You've got Shakira sideways in the track. You be careful.
Someone has gotten it sideways.
I think they said Junqueira.
Newman Haas crew congratulates one another. There they are, owners Paul Newman and Carl Haas, team manager, engineer, crew chief, all of the crew that worked so hard to get Cristiano D'Amata to the front and keep him there. For Newman Haas Racing, they will go into this 20th season having won
On the race surface, go to start.
at least one race victory in 19 of their 20 years in the sport. That is phenomenal. There is Bruno Junqueira's spun car. We will stay with this until they park on the front straightaway. We will have the interviews for you, and then we will send them to the podium for the champagne ceremony. What a moment for Cristiano da Matta. There was so much pressure on this young Brazilian when he took the vaunted seat held for a decade by Michael Andretti. All he did was go out and win his first race in the car. He won the last 2 races of last year, including $1 million first place check for winning at California Speedway in Fontana. And now he has picked up his 3rd straight. To Derek Daly.
I just want to grab a hold of Kenny Seawick here. Kenny, come here. Kenny, talk to me for a second. You were adamant that the strategy was the right call when he was being blocked by Michael.
Well, absolutely. We knew when Michael had a pit, and we knew how far back till Franchitti would be a threat. So we didn't want to overreact. We just let the race come to us, Derek. Brilliant strategy. My whole staff, I owe it all to the team.
Let's go celebrate.
Question about it. Dario Franchitti has already parked and climbed out. Here comes the race winner, Cristiano da Matta, and the 3rd place car of his teammate, Christian Fittipaldi.
Carl Haas very excited. Paul Newman is also here. I ran into both Carl and Paul's pilots last night. They were very excited. Watching on Speed Channel, they said, at the hotels.
Cristiano's dad, Antonio, coming over to embrace his son. Our pit reporters have worked their way down there. Let's go quickly to Derek Daly.
Oh, boys. It is a mob scene here. I love to see these times of celebration. Cristiano da Matta, so many things happened. We're just going to wait till he takes his helmet off. His heart is pounding through his chest here. 3 in a row, 2 season openers. He did this last year, won the last 2 races of last season. This could be the start of a championship run. And remember what he said in our show earlier, if anybody's to win in Mexico, they gotta beat me. Cristiano, what a start. What a start to the season. So many things happened in that one race.
Yeah, we had the tough beginning of the weekend with Friday qualifying. Had a couple of little problems, but it was good that we knew the car was running well the whole time. I knew I was going to have a little bit of work. Got my trophy here. Knew I was going to have some work starting from 5th. Didn't get a very good start, but I think the strategy we played, the team put me in an empty track. It was perfect. I was able to go, and that's why we made our race.
Your dad was here, your mother was here. They were very nervous. Tell me about the incident where you broke the right front wing.
Well, I really couldn't believe that the wing was still there. I was so mad when that happened that I was just checking the car and I was looking at everything to see if everything was still working. And I could see that the car was not too different. So I said, I'll keep on going. You know, that was the lucky, I think, for sure. There was somebody else holding that wing there because in a hit like the one I had, I thought it was going to be gone.
Cristiano, it seemed to be a frustrating time when you chased and tried to get around Michael Andretti.
Well, Michael and Adrian, they're doing their own race, but I think they have to think about the guys. They are doing their own races too. But we're running on the same circuit. Some other day, I'm going to be on the back. They're going to be leading, and I'm not going to give away for any of those guys. You know, it's just a matter of respect, and it's racing. We're here for another 19 races, so it's going to happen again.
Leading 52 of the laps. This is a great start to a championship run.
Yeah, definitely couldn't start even better than it already started. I think the whole Newman Haas team, Javelin Toyota, we did a good off-season. We had a good test in the off-season. We figured a lot of things out, so we were really anxious coming into the first race. There was a lot of pressure in ourselves, but being put by ourselves. So it's good to take this load out of our back, know that even after a 5-month break, we still can do it.
Congratulations, enjoy the champagne. Calvin?
Well, Dario Franchitti, great points, a great run, but I know you're still somewhat frustrated about the lap traffic at the end.
Yeah, I am. You know, it was up until that point, it was a great race. Everybody was running flat out all day. That was a lot of fun. That's
a lot better than last year, right?
Yeah, that's the way racing should be. So we were running flat. You know, we made the first stop, we dropped the car when there was only 2 of the tires that were on, so we had to lift it back up. That lost us a bit of time, but we were just charging, trying to go as quickly as we could. The other stops were perfect. We had a good strategy, but you know, the last yellow definitely allowed us to close up on Cristiano, and then Takagi drove around between us. I don't, you know, the guy didn't drive the same line twice, was completely holding me up, had no interest in you know, obeying the blue flags. You know, a complete idiot. Why the hell is he out there?
The slight mistake on the first pit stop. Do you think you need a perfect race this year to win races? Is that how competitive this series is?
Certainly going to help. Yeah, it's you know, it was tough out there today, and I think we needed a perfect race to have any chance, and we made a mistake, so we'll come back at Long Beach and try not to make any mistakes.
Great run, Dario.
Thanks, Colin.
Scott Pruitt, I believe, is standing by with Christian Fittipaldi, who is certainly putting the pressure on Dario there at the end.
Christian, you had a great race going today. Tell us about each stint. You're saying the car was perfect at first. Tell us about the rest.
Well, the car was very good in the beginning, and I was quietly thinking in the car, I said, man, this is looking pretty good for me. And then as the track started to pick up rubber, I don't know, for some reason, it started becoming really inconsistent and very hard to drive. The second stop, we came in a little bit too early. That's why Dario went by me. And then the last 3 laps, I really tried for it going into the hairpin. I braked really deep, but unfortunately, I braked a little bit too deep. But it was very clean. Like, Dario was 100% and a real gentleman. He made it a little bit hard for me, but he gave me the room also to try it. And it was great racing, but unfortunately I didn't make it. Going on to the next one, I'm happy to take 14 points.
Now, with all the rule changes and all the strategy, it looked like you guys played it pretty smart today. How'd you feel, and what might you change next time? Any idea?
That's a good question, because now I think we analyzed everyone's race. We're going to understand what everyone did. We're going to study a little bit. You have been in the business for a long time. You know how it is, and maybe we can do something different in Long Beach. Maybe we'll stick with the same strategy.
Christian, great job. Congratulations.
Great job indeed. Great to see smiles on the faces of the drivers as they climb out, and universal approval of the new kart road racing rules. There you see Cristiano D'Amata making his way to the podium ceremony. We'll have that for you in just a moment, following the young Brazilian's 5th career victory and 2nd in a row here in Monterrey. We'll take a break and be back in just a moment. Welcome back live to Fundador Park, where the photographers from around the world have taken up station, ready for the podium ceremony, honoring the top 3 finishers in the opening round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series, the Tecate Telmex Grand Prix of Monterrey. And there they are, sharing a smile. On the left, Christian Fittipaldi. In the middle, Dario Franchitti. And on the right, race winner Cristiano D'Amata. And there is Michel Jourdain Jr. on the right with Michel Sr. Derek?
And this has to be like a win for you, because 5 weeks ago, you didn't even have a drive.
Exactly, it's perfect, you know. I mean, great start. Like 2 weeks ago in Columbus, Bobby told me, oh, if we finish in 6th, it would be perfect, you know, and we got a 4th. Team Rechel gave me a great car, but like you said, the most important thing is a couple of months ago, we had nothing, you know, and we worked so hard, you know. My dad helped me so much, and a lot of people, my whole family, a lot of friends, everybody supported me very hard through a lot of these hard times. And you know, I have to thank Gigante and Office Depot for the big trust they gave me, you know, and I couldn't ask for a bigger thing to start like this in Mexico.
Is it true that you only had 2 days of testing prior to coming here this weekend?
I had 2 in Laguna and 2 in Homestead. I had 4 days of testing. Now, Jimmy obviously tested a lot more, and that helped a lot, because we developed the car. Jimmy's a great guy, a great teammate, and he helped a lot. He has helped me a lot this couple of tests too.
A very proud dad here, almost in tears. I see the tears.
Yeah, almost. I'm very happy. It was very hard. The last 3-4 months were very hard, so we're very happy.
I love to see those tears. Congratulations.
Big day for the Jourdain family. Best ever road course finish for Michel Jourdain Jr. in his 102nd career Kart FedEx Championship Series start. Up on the podium, we await the beginning of the hat dance, as they call it. Of course, has a different meaning entirely down here in Mexico, of course. There's some guys who've been hat dancing well into the day. The sun is getting low, the shadows growing long, but the fiesta will go on long into the night here in Monterrey. Let's get down to Calvin Fish quickly.
Well, we're going to try and talk to Tagliani here. He's doing an interview with his team right now, but if we can try and break in. Tag, you had such a great run going in those early outs. It had to be a lot of fun to start the season that way.
Yeah, it was good. I'm really proud of the players' team. Consider the air jack problem we had. It was a good race. You know, top 5 finish for the first race. It's a good achievement for us. But obviously the car was good at the beginning to run in the top 3. We were pulling away, and you know, if without the air jack problem, I think it would have been an easier race for us and probably a podium. But finishing in the top 5 at the first race is good for the players' team.
Great run today.
Thank you.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this players' team. I think Carpentier and Tagliani, they're going to be exciting to watch this season, guys.
No question about it. Maybe the fastest man who has yet to win a race in his Kart FedEx Championship Series career. Alex Tagliani led 13 laps today. For Cristiano D'Amata, his 3rd victory in a row. He becomes the first driver to do that since 1999 when Juan Pablo Montoya did it en route to a championship. And D'Amata already has an eye full of champagne. Great day for Newman Haas Racing, the 1-3 finish. Now they will honor him by playing the Brazilian national anthem. Celebrations continue. We'll take this opportunity for a break and try to speak with Paul Tracy, who arguably had the drive of the race, in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back live to Fundadora Park in Monterrey, Mexico, where the podium ceremony is now complete, and our top finishers, Cristiano D'Amata, Dario Franchitti, and Christian Fittipaldi, will head out to meet the press. Right now, let's join Scott Pruitt with Paul Tracy.
I'm down here with a big story this weekend. Paul Tracy, a disappointing start halfway through the race. Fastest car on the racetrack, unfortunately some problems.
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing for Team Cool Green. We had some fuel pressure problems, and that we were right on track, I think, to be on the podium. We turned fast laps all the way through the race. But right before the window, the 27-lap window, I ran out of fuel on the back straightaway and had to come in the pits, and we had to make another stop halfway through that run. So it was disappointing, but you know, we got a good car, and you know, I felt good in the car, so we got some points.
A disappointing weekend for Paul. Certainly, hopefully, turn it around at Long Beach.
Paul Tracy started 19th, ran as high as 2nd in this race. He has every right to be disappointed with that 8th place finish, but he does have points. He will race another day. We'll be back. And an interesting day here, as it has been an interesting weekend in Fundadora Park, the first round of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. I'm Bob Varsha. He's Tommy Kendall. Tommy, after all we've seen over the last 3 days, what do you expect going down the road?
Well, for me, the smile on Dario Franchitti's face said it all. What that means is the days of the fuel economy runs are over. No more racing to the dashboard. That number, the fuel economy number, it's a thing of the past. And these guys, the intention is to have the guy, if he's the fastest guy and they do the right strategy, he's going to win the race. That's what we saw with Cristiano D'Amata.
They will slug it out on the racetrack, and that's great news. Here's a look at the final results. Scott Dixon finished 6th. Patrick Carpentier, after all his troubles, comes home with 7th place points. And then Paul Tracy for whom this race promised so very much. Michael Andretti picks up the final points-paying position. The 2 points in qualifying for Adrian Fernandez are the only ones as he heads out. And Jimmy Vasser, the first car officially out of the race. Let's get final thoughts from our pit reporters. Gentlemen?
I love a race that has a tingle all the way through. This had a bit of everything. Hometown hero, passion, ran out front, got into trouble. But really, one of the keys was the gamble that DeMata played to perfection that allowed him to win, Calvin.
Absolutely. We talk about momentum. This team kept it over the winter period, and DeMata comes out strong. Key for Newman Haas is, can they get the consistency this year to take the championship? Scott?
What a great way to start out the kart season. I don't think you could have scripted this any better, and the way things worked out, a lot of guys are going to have to do some study on this pit strategy.
Well, thanks very much, gentlemen. Now, all the teams have had a chance to work under fire with the new kart rules in qualifying and the race, so we may see a very different weekend when we journey to the streets of Long Beach, California. Join us for live qualifying on Friday, then Kart Friday night. On Saturday, more live qualifying, and on Sunday, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Fox Network. I'm Bob Barsha for Tommy Kendall, Derek Daly, Scott Pruitt, and Calvin Fish. Thanks for being with us on this big weekend for the Kart FedEx Championship Series and for all of us here at Speed Channel. The next race will be Long Beach, and it will be something to see. So join us then. Until then, adios, everyone, from Monterrey, Mexico.